You're not meant to be laughing yet, George.
Sorry.
I'm going to edit this out. Right, okay. Are we all ready? I'm putting this in the video, by the way. I'm not editing this bit out. Okay.
That works.
Right then. In between people trying to make me laugh, welcome to the Carbotique's very first podcast. So this is going to be an aspiration to do podcasts, maybe 1 or 2 a month, depending how busy we are, to discuss a range of subjects around the core subject of detailing. Okay, what that means to people, product reviews, key players. We've got lots already teed up. So it's going to be an interesting journey, and hopefully we invite you to step on the bus and we'll see where the TCB podcast takes us. Today's subject is going to be on mental health. Now, a lot of sort of observations were made on the Carbotique's Facebook group about people sharing their personal stories. And we thought it would be a good place to start looking into people's minds as to what gets them into detailing, what they take from car detailing, rather, other than just a car. But before I move on, I'm going to introduce you to my wonderful-looking audience, and I'm quite perturbed because Steve McMahon is actually taking notes already. He's got his pen and paper ready.
I can't help it.
This is terrible.
So,
illustrious team, thank you very much for sparing the time to join us tonight to do the podcast. If I can ask you to introduce yourself, George.
Hello, so I'm George from TCB. I am massively into detailing. I'm not professional at all. I'm a HGV driver by trade, so unfortunately I'm probably the one that dirties up your cars when you've cleaned them, so big thumbs down to that. But yeah, I'm just massively into detailing, love it, products, testing, new stuff, old stuff, whatever comes my way. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Rachel.
Yeah, so I'm Rachel from Detail Bug Car Care. I only do it part-time, but I've got Car Care brand where I sell the products and I do the balloting and detailing as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Rachel.
I'm in my fifth year now. So actually this April, I'll be celebrating my 5th anniversary.
Congratulations. And for those people that have been living under a rock and haven't heard of the Detail Bug brand, if they want to go and sort of explore your products, is it social media? Have you got a website? What do they need to do to see what kind of product you've got on sale at the moment?
Yeah, you can just search Detail Bug on Facebook, Instagram, and we've got a website as well. So if you just go onto Google and type Detail Bug, you'll find that, no problem.
Fantastic. And I had the pleasure of visiting Rachel last year. I was working in the area and I popped in and saw her wonderful studio. Really grateful for inviting us along. And I left with a few goodies as well, which is always nice. So the man in the corner, bottom left, you all know him, Steve McMahon. Introduce yourself, young man.
So good evening, everybody. Obviously, welcome to the podcast. I just wanted to touch a couple of things on this. If people were unaware, I'm obviously 1/3 of the Car Boutique, or co-owner, partner, whichever way you want to call it. Andy's the front man, as you know. I've got the face for radio. But I just wanted to touch on, this is a mental health issue that we've spoke about recently. Just to drop in there as well. Sorry, Andy, but we're going to be supporting mental health this year as a charity through the group. I've just checked the figures and it looks like Man Up is going to be one of the charities that's won the vote so far for this year. So that's great. Just to touch a little bit about myself. I've been in the game now, in the detailing industry for around 27 years, coming up 28 years. Started as soon as I could get behind the wheel. Was professional, come out of the professional side of it. Now just a massive, enthusiastic, passionate person within the detailing field. Andy wants me to touch on a certain area, but I'm going to avoid it on purpose. But yes, classically trained, time served apprenticeship, panel beating, spraying, that sort of stuff. And I prefer the detailing side over the panel beating and spraying. And yeah, that's a bit about me.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, if you could just move your mic slightly towards your mouth, that'll be great. But audio is good. That's great. Fantastic. Cheers. Sean Murphy, introduce yourself, young man.
Yeah, I'm Sean. One of probably the newest part of TCB, I think. I've been interested in cars from being a kid and fixing them with my dad and things like that. Obviously, I work in the automotive industry doing fixing cars and things like that. But for me, in my own spare time, I couldn't think of anything worse than fixing my own car or fixing someone's car. So the next best thing for me was cleaning them, so I can still be around them, but get something out of it. So I've probably been doing it for since I learned to drive, really, and we were all wiping our cars down. But I've got into it in a big way in the last couple of years for reasons I will touch on as we get through. So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. And whereabouts in the south are you from, young man? Anyway, he's not answering that. Sean is sharing the corner. Introduce yourself for you lovely people.
Well, I'm Sean. I've been around detailing as long as I can walk, basically. Earliest memories are out in the street with my dad working on his old Capri, his Mark III Escort, and sort of the love built from there. I've had my business as a registered business for the last 19 years, which initially was a part-time thing, ran alongside a very hectic full-time job. We rebranded a few years ago to Abstract Detailing, which the reason for the rebrand I'll no doubt mention and touch on during the course of this conversation tonight. Some people might recognise me from running a detailing group, not the car boutique, but a fellow detailing group on Facebook. I've been around that for 6 years now, and to recognise me here from Waxstock, where I've competed in Showdown numerous times and walked away with a couple of trophies from that. And more recently, last year, I was there with my Fiesta ST competing in the Arrive and Shine for Best Older Car and walked away with second place from that. And this is my partner in crime, Cher, who she will now talk about herself.
Yeah, I only really got into detailing because of Sean. Through reasons, like he said, that we'll mention later on, but we've been friends for years and I always used to take the mick out of him for how clean his car was. I never really quite understood the whole keeping your car clean thing, and I didn't really care about it much. I used to throw the brush on my car at the jet wash like most people did, and I've made a full 180 and now that makes us cringe. So now I'm co-owner of Abstract Detailing with Sean. I've been doing it professionally now for nearly 2 years.
2, yeah.
And within that 2 years, I have gone on and got accredited, won the trophy with Sean at Waxstock. So quite proud of that, but we'll go further into that.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I can remember seeing you you at Waxstock, and I think we chatted, didn't I?
Yeah.
Did I come and throw you a hoodie? I did.
He came and gave me a hoodie, and I think it was a wax, wasn't it?
T-shirt as well.
Yeah, and then everybody took the hug because I only gave Stephen a hug and nobody else.
That's it. And we, of course, met Rachel from Detail Bug. We grabbed her for an interview, which was nice. Just before we sort of delve into it, is everyone planning to go to Waxstock this year? I know myself are. I know my TCB co-owner Steve is definitely going. What about the rest of you guys? George, are you going?
Hopefully so. I need to see where my holidays line up, and then fingers crossed. Hopefully so.
Excellent. Rachel, you're definitely going, aren't you? You've told me you're going.
Yes, I'm hoping to have my first stand there.
Oh, excellent. Well, if you need any assistance, we'll be around. Wink, wink. Okay. Sean Murph.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm hoping George is going because I want him to room with me. I want to share a bedroom with him.
Only if it's top and tail. That's it.
I'm going to stop you there. I don't know where that's going. Steve.
Yeah, just to touch on that with people and dates and diaries and everything else. I hope you can hear me now clearer, Andy, on the moving the earpiece a bit closer. Mm-hmm. But if you do miss out on Waxstock, guys, through TCB, we are doing stuff in the background for this year. Again, I know for sure up north, we are going to try and spread ourselves through the centre of, the Great Britain, UK, whichever way you want to call it. And we're going to try and have some meets, some cars and coffees and meets through resellers, through brands, and everything out. Maybe Rachel, we can go up there as well and just do some meets to try and help out. So if you are or can't make Waxstock, we are going to be offering some other options, just to throw that in there quick.
Yeah, we don't know if we're going to be attending this year. If we do, it's more than likely going to be
with the trader. Or with the IDA that we're members of. I've competed pretty much for the last 9 years.
It's boring now.
It's not just the boring side of competing, it's how much it takes out. Like anybody who followed me on Instagram last year with Waxstock would have seen it was like 6 weeks solid work creating my AST to a concourse standard. And I just want to enjoy the car as a car now and hoot it around.
Sure did, no, it was too stressful. We want to just go and relax, and if we're all going to go, we want to be able to do that, don't we?
Yeah, I definitely get it. I've been myself have competed in concourse and other competitions, and it literally, with the cleanest car you would possibly think, took me another 6 weeks before entering the competition to nut and bolt, strip and clean everything. So I feel your pain of what goes into it, and my hat's off to you for doing what you've done so far. That's brilliant.
I was questioning my life choices. I'm not going to lie.
No, fair play to you. That's a really good accolade.
Hopefully we'll all go, and if anyone's bored, Rachel needs people to help her with her stand. She's already extended the invite to us all, so we'll just go and gate crash Rachel's stand and talk about detail bugs. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very, very much. And like I say, thank you for joining us today. Now, before we sort of get into it, and we're just about to sort of start talking about what we're talking about here, is I will put a disclaimer that none of us are clinical psychologists. Okay, so everything that we discuss here is our own personal opinions, etc., and nothing, the shared experiences does not necessarily mean that will work for you. And mental health is a very, very individual thing. And we all find our coping mechanisms in different areas. So this is a discussion with a good group of people, competition winners, brand owners, our group moderators, and co-owners and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you'll get a good variety and get some worth out of it. So we're going to crack into really the genesis for this podcast was really to look at car detailing. And like I said, we hear many, many stories about people using car detailing as coping strategies for things that are going in their life that they're aware have they've got mental health problems, whether that be anything really. So really, I'd like to, if I may, and be open and honest and sharing as you want, just sort of talk to a few of you about what got you into detailing and why, what you get from it that sort of helps you with that mental health that subject. Now we mentioned mental health. If I ask you a question, well, what does that do for your mental health? That does not suggest you've got mental health issues. You could be absolutely, in a good space. The car detailing can take you to that next level of euphoria, I think is a good way of putting it. So, Sean Murph, can I just come to you if I may, for you to share? I mean, you're really the genesis why we're doing this, because you put a very, very open post on the Car Boutique, and it got a lot of people saying fantastic, thanks for sharing, and then they opened up to the group as well. So if I can come to you, Sean Murph, to start with, to share your experience.
Yeah, definitely. I'll sort of keep it as brief as possible, but I'll sort of explain, a little bit about things. I have always sort of struggled with, in little patches through me, a lot of my life. Actually, I was a very anxious child, and it kind of bothered me, when I was at school and things like that. As I got older, kind of calmed down and things like that. But I have had little spells in my life where even when I'm in the happiest part of my life, and which was planning a wedding with my wife and all that kind of stuff, I had a breakdown, and it's almost caught me off guard. But again, I got through all that, and then it was at the beginning of last year. I had a really bad time, and I was like crying every morning, and I just couldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to go to work, and I could never put my finger on what the reason was. A lot of it, I think, comes down to weather and things, just general everyday, stresses of life. So at that point, I did some things that, managed to sort of get me into a better place, which were being physically active, running. I also started attending Andy's Man Club, which is a national Monday night sort of meeting where guys can meet up with other people and just have a chat, and that made a big difference. But the one thing that always stood out as being something, a getaway, and something that gave me my own space to think and enjoy myself was detailing cars. And if it would just put my headphones on, get out on the drive and achieve something for the day and have a good time doing it and enjoy myself. And then when I sort of joined onto the TCB, I did make a brief mention of it, and I loved the group, and I loved the generosity from people, and I loved the attitude from everybody in that group, and it was just, for me, that became, and the TCB became a big part of my life, and it's gotten more and more as time's gone on, and I just, I class a lot of people on there as my friends, and I've not met some of them, but I have phone calls with them, and it's really helped me to get through. But for me, just opening a nice pot of wax and just enjoying it, you're just applying it to a car and just standing back afterwards and thinking, wow, that's next level, and seeing everyone on the street just have some sort of clean car envy towards us. That is amazing. And I'm in a much better place for many factors, but detailing and being part of the TCB is just absolutely stand out for me.
That's really kind. We could go off a tangent here. I mean, I think the reason why your post got so much sort of positive response is mental health affects everyone, but traditionally there has been a stigma, certainly with men. Okay, traditionally, I'm not categorizing or generalizing, but men have had this block. There's been a stigma to admitting to mental health for whatever reason, and I think we're in a much better place in society regarding that. Okay, but you could actually see the animation in your facial talking about the wax and everything. You could just see your passion and everything, and that when I read that post, it was actually quite moving to see the fact that you were comfortable enough to share that with people you potentially didn't. I will say it makes me feel good about the car boutique, because myself, Steve, and Arthur, George and Sean, you're part of this as well now. That was the whole idea of the group. And I do use this term. It's a safe place where people can share stuff. It's not just about detailing. It's not just about reviews. It's a forum where people can get together. And I think that is so nice for you to say that.
Yeah.
I just, before I sort of go on to someone else, Sean, what can you try and articulate why it makes you feel good? Is it, and I don't want to answer the question for you, is it that escapism? Is it that while you waxing your car and everything, you forget about everything that's going on in your life, and it's just you, the car, and that final look at this, that self-gratification, and a bit of ego in there when you mentioned that the neighbours thinking he's done a job there. What can you sort of dig into how it actually makes you feel, only if you can?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try my best. I think you've kind of said it all, really, but it is escapism. Life is very hectic for everybody. It's very stressful, and it does have a lot of complications. But as far as I'm concerned, I've got my earphones in. I'm looking at a panel. I'm applying a wax. I'm smelling it. I'm breathing it. That's all I think about. I don't even see people around me walking past, or they like people creep up on me and like scare me, because I'm just completely zoned into it. And when you're so focused in something that you get so much pleasure out of, it just completely, you just lose everything. You just lose yourself in it. And for me, that is something, and it maybe it could be like 3, 4, 5 hours in a day, and it feels like the best 5 hours of my week. And I try and do it every sort of Sunday, and then it gives me a nice start to a Monday then that I've done it. Like I say, look at the car afterwards and think, wow, that looks awesome. And it is a bit egotistical, really, detailing. Like, that's what it's all about, because you're taking pride in your work, but you're also like, it's a statement, isn't it? Like, I can achieve this, I can do that for yourself and for other people who look at it. And I've literally got every neighbour on my street like going, yeah, when are you doing mine? Like, genuinely, can you get it done for me? And I'm like, kind of don't have time to do everyone's, but yeah, and I'm doing it for them as a gift, as a favour, and they're just looking at how happy they are when I've done it is, that's more gratification.
Enough self-satisfaction, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah.
That is brilliant, because when you were saying that, talk about the smelling, the feeling, that sort of tangible process of applying a wax, every single person in this room was nodding their head, so everyone can empathise with you on that one. So has anyone got any questions to ask Sean about that, or happy to move on? Because he's very open and honest there. George?
If I park my car on your street, will you do it with me?
I'll do anything you want me to, George. Absolutely.
Have a look at
That's a great idea.
Rachel?
I just want to expand on what you said about helping people, and I think you can speak for anyone who's into detailing will just absolutely love helping people. And I think, especially with me, I'm sure everyone will agree, is helping someone is worth more to me than any amount of money in this business.
Yeah.
And making someone feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm in quite a privileged position when I'm selling the products that will help someone achieve the finish on their car and get them into that space. To make them feel that way, I think it's brilliant.
That's a really good angle to come in with, Rachel. That you're actually selling something, that you're sharing the love with other people to share that experience. Yeah, each and every one of us. So, that's a good way to look on it.
No, that's brilliant, Rachel. Really, really, really good. I sensed that when I came and saw you. It was, half our conversation. I was doing a mini interview in disguise, and it wasn't really about your brand. It was basically all those things you've said. And we moderators talk about brands and everything, and that's come up in conversation. Your passion. It's not just a business. It's not just about making money. There's a lot of secondary and sort of tertiary gains about how you do business, and that is noticed. Hence why you're so popular, and hence why out of all the brands that we've done, I don't know if you noticed, yours has got the most views on YouTube.
Oh, brilliant! So
there you go. There's a few chasing you. Okay, so keep going. But
it's not always the product, though, is it? A lot of the time behind the product.
It's not always the product. It is, it's that ethos behind a brand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And mental health is a big part of it, so 100%. And if a brand owner recognizes that and has been through mental health themselves, and they can relate that to their customers, who 9 times out of 10 will be in a similar situation, and it sounds bad. You're not profiting off it, but it's a genuine want to help someone.
Yeah,
I agree. I
relate to that. We'll not buy from companies who we think are. This sounds the wrong way. I don't care how good your product is. If you're not a nice person, I'm not buying from you. Simple as that. I don't care if your products are crap. If you're a lovely person and you took the time of day, to answer me queries or speak to us on a trade store or anything like that, I'm buying something from you. I might never use it again. I might never buy from you again. But the person behind it makes such a difference for us, doesn't it?
People buy from people.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it extends as well, doesn't it? So if you drop a brand owner a message and say, what does such a thing do? And they take the time to get back to you, they're investing the time into it. And you think, I want to use it.
It feel a little bit special, doesn't it?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right. I love it when somebody drops me a message and wants to actually learn, because it lets me open up then and share my knowledge.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Not a gatekeeper as well. There's so many gatekeepers in the industry. I don't understand why.
Rachel, that's a good point, and I think a lot of brand owners should sort of, it would be a good idea to sort of listen to this. Is the fact that when you're selling your products to a consumer, they're probably getting the same benefit, not just a shiny car as well. Okay, so you see what I mean? You're facilitating them to have that good feeling, and all the positive benefits that come from detailing and putting you in that good space and everything. You are essentially a provider, and like what Cher just said, if you've got that rapport, that engagement as well, that is a great thing. Really, really good point. I just my sort of bit on this bit, me linking into what Cher said. Me and Steve have a lot of inquiries from brands, and we're we try and do as many brands as we can, etc. But I'm sure, and I'll hand over to Steve in a second. We engage with people, and if there's not that rapport, if there's not that good feeling, if there's not that enthusiasm, and we just detect they are there to sell products and make money, I break off that engagement pretty quickly. Steve's our main sort of business sort of person who does a lot of communication with brands. Would you agree with that that sort of way forward?
Yeah. So as you probably know, I like to talk a lot, but not only talk, I like to engage with brands. That's mainly what I do. Now, that's not because I reach out to them and say, can I have freebies? I would never do that, and I never will. I would always approach these guys to buy something. What's your best product? What's your worst product? And start that way. And then obviously if they chuck a couple in, then so be get the same review. But I know we're going off on point here. But no, you're right. Having that relationship, let's call it relationship, is a massive deal to me. And some of those people can be rude or arrogant or just want to use this as a bargaining chip for free advertising. But yeah, I'm not going to go too far into it. But yeah, if they want to engage and help out, and get on board, especially as you say, like Rachel, I've bought all of Rachel's products. And yeah, the relationship, we bumped into each other at Waxstock. Immediately we spoke because we had a common interest. And she probably couldn't miss me the size I was over there, but you know what I mean? The engagement for me, is key before I go off on point. Let's bring it back into the mental health side. Sorry, George, you got your hand up. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say a good example of a brand owner that isn't here is James from War Wars. You drop him a message asking him anything, and he is more than happy to, talk to you. And also, I mentioned to him about an air freshener spray, and he custom made it. And to do something like that is, bob on. And my partner Shannon isn't a massive fan of lemons, and I go mental. I'm spraying it in the car, and she's like, it smells nice, but so.
People who are like that, who I can message them any time of day, questions about anything, even if it's something work related on a customer's car that we're doing, and they'll go out of the way to either ring us or reply back. And on the flip side of that, I've had people who've completely blanked us and we don't speak to them anymore.
Yeah,
just the way that it works.
I'm the same. I mean, before we move on, we get a lot of brands on the Car Boutique. You see a lot of brands popping up, lots and lots and lots. That's not any favoritism. It's just that we've got an ongoing great relationship. We're not a Facebook group that is formed for businesses to jump on and use our group to sell their products. Okay, but we're not stupid enough to know that exposure is a good thing. Okay, but if we have regulated some brands coming on because that is clearly what they're trying to do. They've got no interest in the detailing community and they just want airspace, and we're about reviewing. And the ones that are there repeatedly are the ones we've got a great relationship with, and that will continue because it's genuine. It's a genuine interest. They don't just want to sell their products; they want to engage, educate people about their products, give advice, and I think that is absolutely brilliant. So, it's really, really good. Sean and Cher, have you got any? Do you want to share anything regarding what detailing gives to you? Have got any sort of personal experience as to how your journey started?
Well. I'll try not to waffle and go on, but detailing, it's obviously it's a release, but for me, besides it being a business, it's my life. It's what I've invested more than half of my life into. Now, as I said, the business has been going in October this year. It'll be 20 years that I've been registered as a business, whether it be part-time or full-time now. And when I was part-time, I always used that as my release to help me feel better because I was diagnosed with mental health problems and illnesses and ailments at the age of 12. So I've been going through it a long time. I'm one of those statistics where you're going to say about statistics later, Andy, but sort of, I think it's 18% of 7 to 16-year-olds will have a mental health issue. And then when you flip side, 17 to 24-year-olds, that percentage increases again. And I was one of those where that was already embedded in me. So cleaning cars, give me that release because it cleansed the soul. And I used that as the customers that I worked with. I was fortunate that I didn't have to take everything on. I looked at those who were maybe in a similar position to me, mentally not fragile, but there was something going on. And seeing their reaction to what I'd done, they were amazed. I felt great for it. And at the end, the bonus was I got paid for it.
Yeah.
To take the business where it's at now, we went full time 2 years ago, and the business used to be called SC Valet and Detail after myself. And I've always felt now that was maybe a bit self-righteous, that this is me, this is what I do. So we rebranded 2 years ago off the back of what was my biggest mental health breakdown. Go back to 2020, COVID-19, the world changed. Everybody, I think, in this world now can say that something happened to them mentally in that year. Me, though, that was the turning point of my life, because 6 times in the course of that sort of year, I attempted to take my own life. And it was looking at how do I stop that? What makes me feel not good, maybe, but what puts me into a better space mentally, emotionally. And it was all about detail. It was all about cleansing something and taking it back to how it was before people got their hands on it and put swirls and put scratches and horrible blemishes in. It gave me that chance of, that's what I love doing. If that's what I love doing, I need to do that full time. So I quit a well-paid job. I was earning sort of 40, 50 grand a year, sacked that off, went full-time, committed everything into it. And yes, it is hard. And yes, it, as we'll touch on later, it carries its own mental struggles. But I now can afford myself the time where if I'm not okay to go into work at 8 o'clock in the morning, I can take that hour that I maybe need, or 2 hours or half a day, whatever it is, to sort out what's going on in here and with me, and then go in later and focus on that when I'm in a better space. I don't have the time constraints of being employed, of you must be here between these hours. And when you get here, you leave your problems at the door, because as we'll all probably testify to, you can't always leave your problems at the door. Some things are deeper rooted that you can't just go, you know what, I'll worry about that at 5 o'clock when I finish work. And being able to do what I do now has not just saved my life, but it brought us two closer together and gave her a poisonous passion of detailing now, that you can't look at a car without going, oh no, look at the swirls.
Yeah, my story.
Sorry, go on, Cher.
We're totally entangled with that story. We were just friends when Sean was going through he very, very masked over how bad that was there. I was in exactly the same boat as him, and there was, more than one occasion where we both went looking for each other and pulled each other off the cliffs, to put it nicely. I was in exactly the same boat as him with job-wise as well. I was working full-time as a bereavement counsellor in a very highly paid job, and I hated it. I hated every moment of it. I hated having to answer somebody. I hated having to, be there at a certain time, do this, that, and the other. I just didn't want. I'm not the kind of person who takes direction and orders very well, which a lot of you probably already know that anyway.
I'm sensing that. I don't know why I'm sensing that.
Yeah, most people know that about me. So, when Sean needed the push that he needed, because he would never have done it on his own, me and my mum gave him the proverbial kick up the bum that he needed to do it, because we believed in him and we're so proud of everything that he's achieved, and we're like, do it, what's the worst that can happen? It fails and you go back to doing a job for somebody else. All right, so do you know what I mean? And nearly 2 years later, we're still here. Obviously for me mentally, having that freedom was the thing that helped me mentally. Like, I've had mental health issues my entire life as well, like Sean. I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder, emotionally unstable personality disorder, depression, anxiety, SAD, EUPD. I'm currently waiting to get tested for autism and ADHD. So you name basically a mental health condition and I have it. And people always seem to think, I'm the happy-go-lucky person that you see on social media, and it's not the truth. Like, I was joking with you guys earlier. I've been in pajamas for the last 3 days. I've not wanted to, get out and do anything. So doing something like this is really nice. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to do that and discuss that with people, because I'm willing to lay bare everything, what the reality of it is, because everything you see on social media isn't real, and I'm happy to pull off the mask and show everybody what the truth actually looks like.
No. Honestly,
I'm
blown away.
Steve.
I was just going to say, the honesty that I've just heard is mind blowing. I'm absolutely blown away. And I can only thank you all for sharing those stories. And I wanted to jump in there before Andy did, but honestly, blown away by all of you. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm sort of gobsmacked that you've all been that honest. So I can only thank you. That's it. Sorry.
No, I think that's what we're all feeling, Steve. Excuse me. And it raises a few issues. First of all, making the point that everything looks nice and rosy on social media, and that's the main thing with the mental health, isn't it? Really, that you don't know what's going on inside someone's head. I could give you all 10 seconds to think about something that's occupying your mind at the moment, and you'll all tell me, and none of us would even guess it. I've got issues going on in my life and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's the main thing with mental health. It is a very personal, individual thing, and you do put a facade on, and certainly on social media, everyone does put that facade on, and that's why I think it's like what Steve said. It's refreshing to hear stuff. Sean, I take my hat off to you. First of all, for sharing that, and that's in a perverse kind of way what I hoped this discussion would promote, to make people watching it realize that you can be in the worst times, etc. And I love how you've had some serious issues going on, and fair play to Cher for being there supporting you two as a partnership. I think it's awesome.
Unbelievable.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Which is great. But you've identified you've had that analysis to look at what makes you happy, and you developed that inherent interest in detailing, and thought that is almost a portal for my recovery, if you want to label a lot of that. And now you're doing successful business. We will come back to how it's changed for you being an enthusiast and a business owner shortly. But happy to have you part of the group. Love that you're sharing it. I hope all the stories we've heard so far to help people realize that something as mundane, irrelevant to some as your car can have a fundamental effect, and you are a perfect example of that. So I salute you, young man, and well done to both of you, and long may that continue, and every success.
Because you'll cry.
No, it's true. Does anyone else, before we sort of move on, want to share? George?
So as you said before, Andrew, I think you covered it pretty well, and it is admirable that everybody's been so open on the podcast tonight. And I think also with the detailing side, it expands away from actually being near a car. So as you touched on with social media, when you look at things online, it isn't always what it seems. And when you're on TCB, it's just people sharing their experiences, what they're enjoying, what they're doing. And also, if people have issues or they're not sure how to use something or want advice, it's a great place to be, because everybody's happy to help, and you don't get silly answers as well. I mean, I've been on forums before, like you ask somebody what engine oil to put in, and like, oh, cooking oil, and you just think, why? But as you go back onto TCB, everybody's willing to help, and it's just a great place to be, and it is a safe place for people as well.
Steve, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Everybody sees the group as it is, very friendly and everything else. And with everything that's just been said at the moment, we actively, in the background, monitor for any bullying, prompts and everything else. And if people have got that sort of interest or singling out or attacking people or taking a swing, sorry, it's not going to happen on the TCB. You will be gone. As simple as that. Actively promote. What's just going on now is just being amplified, and we want to continue this more so that everybody's got a place to my phone, or you've all messaged me predominantly. If you need to message me and talk out, or anybody on this group, my phone's always on, just to let anybody on the group know that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to in a second, but Shay, you put your hand up.
Yeah, just one thing I will point out. I absolutely love the group. I found you ages ago, and I love exactly everything that you have said about it. But just on the flip side of that, I want to give you the insight of something that you might not be aware of as well. Me personally, because of my mental health, there's a lot of things that I see that I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And it might not be anything bad, just like somebody might go, oh, I absolutely love this. and I might go, well, I used it and it was absolutely crap.
Yeah.
Personal opinion. But because of my mental health problems, I won't put a comment on. I won't start that argument with somebody because I don't want to make that person feel bad about something that they like. So people need to take that into account as well.
Such a good point.
What you're commenting really does have an effect on people.
Yeah,
and
it does.
It's so easy to just go, I don't agree with that, and then just slide away, like just get over. I'm trying not to be nice about it, but get over yourself. You don't always have to hear your own voice.
It's like when you see those beading pictures and maybe the beading's not the best, but that person is really, really proud of it because they spent 5-6 hours doing that car.
Exactly.
And then they go on to social media and they get their bubble burst. It's not a nice position to be in.
Nice. It's not nice at all. Especially, somebody like me personally, I've suffered massive bullying at the hands of social media. And I mean, in the thousands of people bullying us on social media. And it's not a nice place to be at all. And that one comment could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. On the flip side of that as well, though, is sometimes it puts you in a little bubble that you don't want to be in. Like me personally, I used to be really all over the place on social media, commenting here, doing this, doing that. And in the last 6 months, because of my own physical health problems, my mental health took a battering and I've just completely come off it. And I think the point I want to get at is just sometimes check on people that you used to see and they've gone quiet. Check on them, even if you don't know them, but you think, they used to post loads and I don't see them anymore. Just drop them a message in if you don't know them. Just, how you doing? You all right? You don't know what they're going through, and you could be their little knight in shining armor,
A little bit of light.
That one little bit of light.
Yeah, I think one thing I will say, and that really does happen. In fact, a few days when I'm going to my job, but sometimes I need to go away, and I don't always tell Steve that I'm going away. And if he doesn't hear from me for literally a day, it is literally a message from Steve saying, "Andy, are you all right?" And I like that. I think it's a really nice feeling. He didn't need to do that. Someone who I've become best mates with. He's now he basically co-runs the car boutique. It is the three of us with all the moderators and all that kind of stuff. Became friends over car detailing. You know what I mean? Once again, emphasizing how important it can be. Rachel, have you got anything to sort of say, share?
Yeah, so I just want to expand on that. I think that's brilliant because I get more messages from customers and people I've met through detailing and become friends with them more than people who I was friends with in school with.
Yeah.
With that, we've got the same with that. You're faster to have a customer become a friend than your friend will become a customer.
Definitely. And you know what? For reasons, I'll probably go into them later, but I've lost so many friends in the past couple of years. It's just so nice to get those messages from people within this community. And that's what this, the TCB group is so good for as well. You can just be yourself in there, as you say.
That's it.
And it's about meeting new people and making new friends and making a new space for yourself.
Yeah. I've got a story I'm going to tell people. I got it off the internet. It's from America about someone's journey, but I'll save that for a bit. What we're just going to keep running it. We can. I see value in what we're talking about, and if this podcast is 2 hours, we can split it in. But I'm enjoying listening to the stories. Steve, do you want to just quickly go into your sort of journey in detailing? I know you work for some special racing cars and all that kind of stuff, but what I've talked to you about before, how did you develop your passion? Because you sort of did it as a profession, then fell out of love with it. But what got you back into it again? Because I think there's a nice story there as well.
I can't really pinpoint one area, I suppose, as such. And but yeah, obviously, I spent so much time in the industry. It was, I guess, through I give up smoking and everything else, and just wanted to turn my hand and get back into something. There's other ulterior ways or what Andy knows about that, so I'm not going to dive into it too much. Not because I don't want to, I just don't want to bore everybody with it, shall we say. And I'm conscious that we're 44 minutes in, but no, we'll keep running with it. But no, I've always had that passion, It's always been there. But again, when you do something professionally, you sort of fall out of love with it. And I guess that's what happened to me. I wasn't only doing it for work. I was then taking it outside of that with Fast Car Magazine, Max Power, with cars, having them featured, detailing them, then picked up the concourse bug, started going into the concourse side of it, as well as it being my job, like my counterparts in the bottom here. And you sort of then, you can have too much of a thing. And it's sort of, I'm not going to say that I stopped because I just fell out of love with it. And then, would you believe I bought probably everybody's seen on here, the Transporter. And it's one hell of a great big thing to detail. And bang, off we went. But it's not just the detailing side of it for me. I go down the rabbit hole. The testing, I do a lot of development stuff. People are aware. Whatever you see what I'm doing, there's probably 70% that you don't see that I do, which I actually love. As some of you might have seen, there's some stuff I've shown on the camera, which is development stuff. But I've got the bug about, and with TCB, it's just grown. I was like everybody probably on here, floating around network, DC, and all the other places. What's best to use at the moment? I've been using Waterglim, 3M, Frecula, all these that people or Sean in the bottom left will know. All the old mops we used to have, with Hessian sacks. We never applied it with microfibers. I had a tin, and then everything was done with the same compound. But it's gone full circle and back into it. And I come across TCB a couple of years ago now, wasn't it, Andy? And straight away, I'm not only just a partner or colleague with Andy, we speak every day about everything. And if he does go off on whatever he's doing, I know what he does as a job. So I'm there to pick up whatever it needs to be doing. And here we are. But again, I'm just going to touch on thank you with Rachel and the Seans and sharing everything. It's been I'm loving listening to this story. And let's continue on. I don't know how we're going to trump this first issue, if I'm honest.
Right,
serious
a good link, Steve. A good link. Excellent. I really enjoy listening to your story, actually. And like I said, within a few weeks, Steve was top of the comments about 1,000. The TCB grew. And just going back to share a couple of points you said before, it's sort of fresh before we go on to our next sort of a small talking sort of subject, is you talked about when you disagree with things, there's a way and a mean to put a comment on the group. We, in fact, quite recently have noticed a few people just trying to be argumentative. Gone. Okay, they're gone. There is a way of commenting on something that you don't agree with. Okay, and that is interesting point. Okay, and 2 or 3 months longevity when it should have been 6. What was your procedure, the way of talking about it? So in a psychological way, you can tell people that you disagree, but in a constructive manner that causes conversation. And what we are really cautious of is we test a lot of products. We get sent some stuff, and we, whether we buy it or not, and some of it does not go on film. Okay, and some people sort of suggest, well, you're not being honest. Okay, no, the honesty, and Steve will back me up on this. The amount of engagement, predominantly Steve, because he does most of the testing, will get back to a company and give them that live feedback. That's the way to do it. And linking into what Rachel said, it is not for us who run a Facebook group to potentially damage the brand. That is someone's livelihood, okay? And one thing, it can cause massive damage, and we really protect that. We will engage back with them, and I did a video review. It took me a whole week, and I showed them the demo, and I was quite honest with it. It wasn't cutting because I do things in a constructive way, and they decided they didn't want the video shown. That's great. They got the feedback from me, okay, and unless they're happy, it won't go. And I wouldn't want to be responsible for damaging anyone's reputation.
Imagine how detrimental that would be to like a tiny, small-town business.
Yes.
I'm not saying that you're the biggest group out there, but you've got a really good following of people who really respect
one of the smallest, actually, but we're getting there.
Well, but still, people respect your opinions on what you've got to say about these things, and you could have somebody like a small business like Rachel, for example, and you could say that their products are not up to your standard, and then everybody could just go and attack them, and it wouldn't be fair based on one person's opinion.
Correct.
No, absolutely.
I take it offline, take it direct.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how they answer or how they come out, most of them will, some of them say are very receptive. Oh, really? Let me swap that out and send it back to something else for you to test. Again, I'm conscious we're going down a rabbit hole and somewhere else with this for another episode. But some people come back to me and say, no, you've applied it wrong. Well, okay, well, you're telling me it should be applied this way, and I've followed it to the letter of the law. But George, sorry, you put your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say there is quite a few factors as well when you're using something like a shampoo. You've got hard water and things like that, and your temperature. So it isn't fair to, if you use a product once, you shouldn't write it off because on that one day it's not been as good. You might use it another day and it might be better. So as you say, it's better sometimes.
No one ever is going to have the same experience using the same thing, no matter what. If you stood next to each other using the same product, and you're not going to have the same experience because that's 100%. Happened with us. Yeah.
We're actually going to do a podcast on that, okay? And it's not necessarily going to be controversial. It's going to be on the whole subject of longevity claims, okay? Because like I said, I don't want to go off the tangent, but if a company makes a longevity claim, the only way that can be quantified or proven is against a set standard, a set maintenance standard, and the industry has got to decide on that, because 6 months, well, if I go and use a highly alkaline shampoo and a TFR, it's not going to be 6 months, but if every 2 weeks you would pH neutral shampoo, etc., it could be 6 months. So until there is some kind of, this is just my opinion, I'm getting passionate about this, until there is some kind of industry standard for checking longevity, I think you've seen in my videos, I half most longevity claims straight away, okay, because then I'm not disappointed. But Rachel, just quickly before we move on, what's your opinion on brand longevity claims? Because it seems to come up an awful lot at the moment.
Rabbit hole, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a massive rabbit hole, isn't it? Because
it is. Should we bang out of that, Steve? You're right. Sorry, Rachel. We're
definitely save that for another podcast.
We're going to save that. That'll be a good subject. So we're just going to quickly move on, and then we're going to get back to a really juicy subject. And I just want to quickly hear your opinions really on and I've got loads of stuff here. I've read into it. I've got things like cleaning can be used as a form of therapy, the psychological benefits of cleaning cars and all that kind of stuff. There's loads and loads of stuff. But putting aside, we've used it to get ourselves out of those dark times. What do you think it is? Why do you think thousands and thousands, I've got the figures there, thousands and millions of people clean their car? It's not just to keep their car clean. What are the benefits of having a car clean on the outside and a car clean on the inside? And then I'll show you a few facts and figures and we'll get to another juicy subject. So Rachel and Georgia, in fact, everyone's going for it. I'm going to do it in the order I saw the fingers. Obviously, George has got a bigger finger than the rest of them. So George first.
It's only because it's closer to the camera. No, I think it's if you have a dirty car, I think once you've washed it, you can also relate it to washing away some of your issues that you've got. You can tie it into that. And also, it's like a cleansing that's going on because your car is an extension of yourself. When you're in it every day and you're driving it, the smells you're getting from it, even if the glass is clear, looking straight through and having a clear view can give you a clearer view on life itself. So it does help in a respect like that, I'd say. Yeah.
Sean,
that's deep.
That is.
I think, like, as George said, a car is an extension of yourself, and I think you always want people to look and think that you're not like a dirty person. Because obviously working in the industry, right? The stuff that we see in cars.
I don't know why she's laughing, but she found that funny. Not a dirty person, Sean.
It's clearly I'm not gonna. Yeah, we'll not go into that one. Looking at the state of some people's cars are absolutely disgusting, and you have to get inside them, and they've never been cleaned, and there's like rotting things and stuff inside them, and it is horrendous. And I could never see myself, getting into a car like that and having my family in that. I've got 3 small children, so I want them to be in as clean a car as possible for their own health, really. And again, for the outside, I know you don't see it that much when you are inside driving it, but everybody else can see it. This space is beautiful. The car needs to be beautiful, doesn't it?
Right, Rachel, save him. Good one, Sean. Rachel, you put your hand up. Everyone's
So
laughing
yeah,
now.
to me,
You've
it's
ruined
just
it.
it's a form of therapy to me, isn't it? You go into your own little bubble, and you're in your own headspace. It gives you time to think about things, mull things over. Whether that's a good thing depends on you as an individual. But it takes you out of any stress from work, daily life, pressures, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
yeah, I'll agree with anyone who said then as well about just having a clean car. I think I always remember one of my first bosses from my first jobs used to say you can always tell a lot about a person about the state of their car.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I've always kept, especially the interior, some people spend 2-3 hours a day in their car. Why would you not want it to be a clear space that you can just go in, sit and relax?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
just
I'm going to come
a
back
nice
to
place to be then, isn't it? Especially when you're listening to great podcasts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good link there. Good link. I'm liking your work, Rachel. Sean
It was a
share.
plug.
Yeah, it's going on to the sort of the whole clean car thing. Anybody who comes down to our shop, whether it be friend popping in, customer, they always say whatever big job we've got in the bay. And then on the flip side of that, my ST's there. It's done 1,400 miles in the last 12 months, and all of those have been to an event or a show, so it doesn't get used. But it's kept immaculate so that when a customer comes in, they can say, oh, is that a customer car? No, that's my own. That's the standard we get to, talk about it. There's the Fast Forward magazine feature. There's the trophies it's collected. It shows a mask. Flip side of that, you go out into the car park where my daily car is. At the minute, you wouldn't think I was a detailer because up here with both of us recently has been a bit fragile. And my car, as everybody said, it's an extension of yourself, whether it be your personality. So in the summer, my daily driver has pink split rims on because I'm wild and outrageous and I don't care.
And I dared them.
And she dares, and I'll never back down from a dare. And I love it.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a green car that is black, and I'm not kidding, black up to the door handles.
Hasn't been washed since before Christmas.
It hasn't been washed for nearly 3 months. The inside, it's got bottles from having a drink on the way to work or back from work. Because we have the dog in it, as we mentioned, you've seen on the Car Boutiques cover comps, big greyhound. There's a hammock being in the back. So there's dog hair for the greyhound.
Bits of tree.
Bits of tree, there's
Mud
grit,
in the footwell,
everything. Because mentally, I can't, when I'm at work, I've got to deal with customer cars and make them the best that they can be, and that's fine. That's a different headspace for when it comes to doing my own.
Yeah.
I don't have the mentality to stop work at 5 or 6 o'clock and then go and clean my own car, because then that's putting me into a counterintuitive space, to putting us into a darker space. I'm looking at the car going, how have I let it get like this? Why have I let it get like this?
Yeah.
And then the intrusive thoughts come.
And then you've got the flip side of that, which is 10 times worse, which is my car. For the past 6 to 8 months, I've not been allowed to drive.
Yeah.
Because of medical conditions, I've not been allowed to drive. So I've just been a passenger princess, which is not really great. Because I love driving. Driving was my therapy before detailing.
Same with me.
My little baby, my little car has been sat under a tree for 8 months, and maybe started once or twice. I think it's moved twice. It went for its MOT last week. The car's silver. The whole back end of the car and the whole roof has black and purple staining from the berries in the tree sap all over the car. There's probably half a tree's worth of leaves and twigs in every single crevice. All of me wrap that's on the back of it is destroyed and ruined.
Everyone in this podcast wants to go at your car now.
Don't worry.
I want it. I can look at Steve salivating. I'll do it.
The inside, I'm sure I saw mold because it's been sat without any sort of air getting into it. And that's the reality. It's full of dog hair because I've never cleaned it out since the last time I used it. The boot, I don't even think you could put a pin in it because it's just full of crap. And what they do tend to say is that your bedroom or your house is a direct extension of what's going on up here. Like they say that with hoarders and people with OCD and all the rest of it. But for people like us who are into detailing, it fundamentally comes from being a car enthusiast. I was never, ever, ever into detailing before I met him, but I was into cars. I've been into cars my entire life. Obviously, which is a really hard thing to do as a woman, and none of you, bar Rachel, will understand that. You know, you get absolutely tortured for loving cars as a woman. And being a woman in the detailing industry is even harder.
Yeah.
That's actually
Another
worse.
podcast idea that I think.
Yeah, me and Rachel have spoke about
write
this.
this down. Write
And
it down, Steve.
we will happily discuss this with you. I mean,
That's a
I've
good
been
one.
subjected to some very unsolicited messages from very big people in the detailing industry that I won't go into, but it happens. It's the reality of it. So, you know, as a warning to people out there who want to get into detailing, most women will be like, well, I can't do that. It's a man's job. Yes, you can. You can do absolutely anything that you want to, but going back to the, you know, the room and everything being an extension of your mental health, my car right now is a direct reflection of what's going on in my head that I can't articulate. You know, the only way I can say to somebody when somebody says, what's up, what's going on in your head right now, is go look at my car.
Yeah.
And you'll see. Today, we had to pop out today to go somewhere, and I went to him and I don't care that we've got a full detailing shop. We've got our own business that does detailing. I'm taking my car to the jet wash and I'm going to give it a spray down because we don't have the mental capacity to go and unlock all of the shop, get all of the gear out and do it properly.
Did someone just say jet wash? Did I hear that right?
He did. Professional, accredited detailer.
No brushes we
used a jet wash. I didn't use the brush. The brush got yeeted over the wall. I'm not going to lie, that actually happened. But anyway, it got jet washed, and I thought, you know, even just doing something so like that one little thing is a step in the right direction, because getting, you know, 50% of that muck off my car has made us then go, I know how good my car looks when it's clean. I know, I mean, other people might not agree, but I don't really care about their opinion. It's my little car and I love it, you know, and when that car is clean and it's immaculate the way that it is, it's something I'm really proud of. Everything that I've got of that car, I've done myself. It's a car that I passed my test in. I've had that car nearly 5 years.
Cher, are you proud because it gives you that inner good feeling, or are you proud
it's because it's something that
you can show that off to people? Not ego or arrogance, or is it a blend of the both?
But it does come down to that though, because I'm I'm the most unself-centered person that I think anybody can say that you would meet, and I'll do anything for anybody else. And if I've got 50 pence, we've both got 25, you know, like that's just the kind of person that I am. But I would rather not eat so that you could eat. So for me, that car over the past 5 years has saved my life as much as Sean's car has saved his. It's been my little escape. It's been something that I can just go and jump in and bugger off and forget about the world. And 90% of the, you know, the bullying and the online torment and everything that I've explained is down to the car scene, and it's down to being into cars and being a woman, you know. And it's something that is really, really real. It does happen. And I jumped into the detailing world completely new and green, and, you know, all over social media like, hey, I'm new, and not knowing the reality of it until Sean sat us down and told us exactly what it would be like. And, you know, having that insight into it beforehand really did help. Really, really did help. But exactly what you said is ego. It completely is ego, because like I say, I'm not the kind of person who'll show off and be like, look what I can do. Like, I know I can detail a car, and I can detail it as well as the people who are over the top. You know, I can go and compete, but I won't blow my own trumpet about it. So when I do spend that time and get myself in that head zone of, right, let's work on this customer's car, let's work on my own car, the whole reason that I do it is only for that end goal, for the reaction. It literally is.
Yeah,
like,
there's a bit of that in me as well. Definitely, there's that inner feeling that there is. Customer picks their car up. I've had a guy recently, almost in tears.
We've had people crying. I was doing it for a bottle of gin. I don't post videos for anybody to see. It's for me. It's for me, and I show my mum. You know, it's only for us. And like, literally, you all sit and say that you love doing it. It's therapeutic and all that. For me, it's not anymore. It's now became a chore. It's something that I've got to do to be able to pay the bills.
We're going to come back to that, Cher. Okay, no, we are.
But the point I was trying to make was, the reason I want to do it is because the end goal is the thing that gives me my euphoria. It gives me my love of seeing the end goal and people's reactions. That's the biggest, that's the best feeling you can possibly have.
One of the little wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Steve has been writing down. I think you've just paved our way for the next 10 podcasts with very things.
Well,
I love the
I'm
idea.
on board. I'm ready.
Really like the idea of females in detailing. Okay, I think it's another good subject. Rachel will come on board. Well, there's other group members that are female. Okay, that will come along as well. We'll have a really good discussion on that one. I'm just going to come to George and then Steve, and then I'm going to go on to the whole subject. Okay, George.
Sorry, I was just going to say quickly, I think it's important to point out that it doesn't matter male, female, or your skill set. You can be starting detailing with one bucket, one microfiber, and you've got shampoo, and you're not going to be judged from it because everybody's at different levels as to what they're doing. And the good thing with detailing is you can take it as far or not as far as you want. You can get to doing a glaze rather than a correction, and that's fine. It doesn't, it's personal preference, really, isn't it, to see how far you want to go with it?
Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, so no, I'd say I've just been taking down notes, but one thing I've picked up, which keeps coming up, which is quite apt for the name, really, being the Car Boutique, and me and Andy have touched on this a couple of times. One thing we could talk about to clean the cars is also, we've touched on, to go for a drive. I wrote down that because it's been brought up a couple of times now. Andy, you touched on it as well. Going for a drive, that's also part of an escape, having that lifeline, that safety net to be able to get in that car. Even Rachel, the Robin Reliant. I mean, come on. That's a legend. But it's a car to get out. You're going to get looks. It's different. It's quirky. But we keep alluding back to that. Again, it's the car to go out for a drive. It's an escapism. And one thing I picked up on this, just to touch on, is everybody's been sharing the experiences. But within the Car Boutique and all the other groups, it's the community to helping each other. That's come up quite a few times tonight when I've been taking my notes. And I've circled it where it's come up so many times. Again, I say I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's really good for the community for sharing and podcasts like this, especially with mental health being the first one. So again, I just implore you all for being so open and honest. But no, Andy, take it away on to the next point or next section, shall we say, because we're 6 minutes in and it's just going as quick. We're doing
well. I'm just going to before we go on, and Steve's cursing me, I'm just going to share something I did find, and it sort of ties everything up. There's a guy, I won't mention his name or anything, but a guy in America that had similar dark times as you, Sean, actually. Okay, he went through a prolonged period, especially through COVID and all that kind of stuff. And he exactly the same as you. That's why it resonated. He loved cleaning his car. He had a bit more time. He lost his job and all that kind of stuff, and he was in a bad place. He was the suicide option was constantly going around his brain, and he lost his job, he lost his family, and all that kind of stuff. And he is now in a really, really good place. He started car detailing, and it was that mental detachment from what's going on. Okay, the headphones and everything. He enjoyed the fact that he almost knew what the outcome was going to be. Okay, so dirty car to clean car. He liked that cathartic start and finish bit, which was great. He knew the process, and it's been proven that the best way to deal with or to de-stress is to do things that the process, repetition stuff and all that kind of stuff. That's why people like cleaning, okay, because it's repetition and the before and after a bit. It was really good. But this guy got into detailing and loved that. But the main thing that sort of, and he uses the word saved him, is the community that he got involved with, because he started doing his cars. He took it to a show. He met some people. Those people then introduced him to other shows. He now goes around America doing massive shows, and he is absolutely really successful. So it sort of links into everything we've just discussed. It's the detailing, it's the love of cars, okay, it's the community, okay. And I think that is such a good story. I'll send you the links offline. It's a whopper, but love. He sees it as the term he used was active. What's the term I used earlier, Steve? Active, not cathartic. What's it when you sit on a beach and just go
meditation?
Yeah, active. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. It's active meditation. It's giving you all the benefits of that meditation, that relaxed state of mind, and all that kind of stuff we were talking about earlier. But he's keeping active. It's releasing endorphins and all that kind of stuff. I'll send you the links. Really, really good. If anyone else wants a link, I'll send them to link as well. So, Steve, you're quite right. I apologize. So, the final sort of thing we're going to look into, and really looking forward to this bit. We sort of touched base on it. Is we've talked about the love of detailing, how it's helped us out in life, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but the question I want to ask is if you're going from the benefits to a keen enthusiast arguably are slightly different to the benefits to a business owner. So I'm looking at Sean and Cher and Rachel, into any of you really. Does that passion, do all those benefits change from being a keen enthusiast to being a business owner? Cher, you alluded to it earlier, and I rudely interrupted you, but now's your chance as well. Do things change? Do you fall out of love with detailing because you now are doing it as a business? Is there customer expectation? Does it stress you out? Do you lose the love, or potentially do you maintain that love? And if it's earning you some money, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So can I go? Sorry, yeah, should we go, Sean and Cher? Yeah, because you started talking about.
Sean's been doing this a lot longer than me, and the last 2 years since the rebrand, which was my fault, have we had 12 days off in nearly 2 years? Yeah. We had 12 days off in nearly 2 years. I've been off a lot more lately because of what I alluded to with the physical health problems, but that's completely different. Mentally, there is such a difference now. Before we started this,
still enjoy it, Cher, though, or
I don't at the minute. No, I don't enjoy it anymore. I can't remember the last time I went down the shop and actually did any work.
Yeah,
other than, but obviously, my physical health is probably the main reason that my mental health is the way that it is. And I think that once I start to get well again, I'm hoping it'll flip back over. Obviously, at the minute as well, I've got SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, which means that any time that there isn't any sun, I am like a vampire, to put it in the best possible way to explain it. I don't want to be outside. I want to be in my room in a ball in darkness and leave me alone. But yeah, along with everything else, I think that once I'm in a better position physically, my mental side will, like what Sean Murph was saying, he went running and got himself physically fitter. It goes in hand. Like you always say, you go to the gym to keep your body in shape, but what do you do for your mind? Mm-hmm. Me being an ex-counsellor, an ex-bereavement counsellor, I know all of the practices. I know everything that I need to do to keep my mentality sane and right. But I'm going to call myself a hypocrite because if any of you has messaged me and said, what do I need to do? I can tell you everything, but I can't follow my own advice. It doesn't work like that. It literally doesn't work like that. But as it stands at the moment, Sean's passion and Sean's love will never go. He's going through a really bad time mentally at the moment with me, because of me, probably because of my health. And we're stressed about money, we're stressed about things, and changing it from being a hobby, which it was for me at the beginning, I was so excited to do this business. I did all of the branding, I did all of the graphic design, I was the one all over social media, flogging it like a dead horse. And like you said, we never had a day off. And I'm so grateful for that, because we've got amazing customers, and Sean's reputation, speaks for itself. So there was people queuing up waiting to get, the cars work done by him. And that was exciting for me. And it was the buzz, the manicness, and my mental state just went straight into the manic episode of, the bipolar side of things. And I'm like, yes, this is great. I didn't even think about the money. Didn't care about the money. It was the fact that I was seeing him happy and doing something that he enjoyed and that made me happy. So
Sean, listening. Sorry to interrupt you. Listening to Cher, okay, how does that make you feel? And Cher alluded to the fact that you still have that inherent passion of detailing. I.e., if you won the lottery, you'd still get enjoyment out of cleaning cars. Is that where you are?
Absolutely. I've always said it. I don't play the lottery, but if I ever was lucky enough to throw a ticket on and win 118 million quid on the Euros,
this one, honestly,
I'd build me own purpose-built studio somewhere. And the cheap prices that I've got already would become cheaper. Because it would just be fueling my addiction to release them endorphins to make us happy. But when you take away the hobby side of it, so when I was doing it part-time or on my own car, that 8 hours or them 2 days prepping a car for a show was mint. I loved it. Finish it off, go back, do the day job, no stress, no worries. Flip it into something when it's not just your life in an enjoyment side, but it becomes your life in that if you aren't working, you aren't earning.
We're not eating.
I don't pull the shutter down on the shop at 5 or 6 o'clock, go home, and that's me done for the day. I'm going home going, right, so I've got microfibers to wash. I've got this, and this to order for this customer car. Next month, I've got this coming in. Right, I need to order this PPF for this car. Right, what offer am I going to run for the summer? I'm quiet in 4 weeks' time. What do I do to fill that spot? And then before you know it, I'm in bed for a couple of hours and I'm back up to go to work and the cycle starts again.
But customers message you at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night. You know, running your own business isn't a 9 to 5 job. We never, ever switch off. I can't remember the last time we did anything not relating to the business.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we do revolves around that business because if we are the only people behind it, there's only us. There's nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else is helping us. We do everything.
Yeah.
Every single part of it. We are the accountants. We are the graphic designers. We are the people who do the work. We are everything. And if one of us fails, which I have been lately, Sean's got to do 2 people's work. He's having to do 2 people's work, you know, and it's draining.
It's an interesting. If I made it interject, it's an interesting comparison that you're both in this together. You help each other out, but one of you has, you know, lost a bit of passion and one hasn't. And I think almost potentially that dynamic works because Sean's obviously aware of how Cher's feeling, and you can work together. I think that's really good. If we've got more, come back to you because I could talk to you two forever. Yeah. I'm just going to go around the rest of the group. Steve,
Sorry.
I'm going to ask you the question because no, absolutely, and this, you know, some of us were worried about, you know, us not talking. I think this is brilliant. I think that I'm not going to stop this conversation. We're going to just go around the room. Interesting, Steve. You shared your journey in detailing, and you're doing massive things with geeky detailing. It's rocketing exponentially, and I take my hat off to the amount of work you do, the amount of products you review. Absolutely brilliant. But have you got? You've alluded to the fact that you're a keen enthusiast. Has that additional pressure of being, you know, asked by a lot of brands to test, and ultimately no one knows half the stuff you test? Has it put a bit of pressure on you, or is that actually fueled that love? If you see what I mean, you're not a business owner, but the industry asks quite a bit of you to do stuff. Do you still love it?
Yes, I still love it. There's no getting around it. I still love it. Within the job that I do as a day job, I'm a project manager in construction. I've done cars detailing and construction. That's sort of my whole life mapped out. And I will say it to my contractors now, my build partners on site. Communication is key. So just to drop you something I've done already with the weather, the way it is, and some of the testing being put back. Instead of setting myself up for fall to put too much pressure on myself, all I've done is drop them a message and said to them from the data, I will get round to it as soon as I can. You are next in the slot with weather commitments and everything else. I've messaged them before they've even got to message me to say, when's my review going to do? When can you do that test and development stuff? What are you putting it against? I've already messaged them before it got to that point, just to say and been upfront and honest. And because I've done that, I've kept the pressure away from myself, which has allowed me to enjoy it and keep up the momentum and the passion and enthusiasm that you can probably tell by, or I hope you read on some of my reviews. But that's the way I stay ahead of it. I've had my before in construction for 6 years, really successful, but we had to employ somebody to earn money. Again, the mental health thing, as you've talked about, I needed to employ somebody to do that, and it was a nightmare. But I buried my head in the sand, shall we say, and just thought, if I do more work, more hours, I'll get out of it. No, you won't. But the communication wasn't my strongest point then. Well, it's definitely my strong point now. So I live and learn from it. So yeah, communication is key. Being upfront and honest, like these guys with the customers in your house. If I can't get round to it, because they are customers of mine, let's be honest. They want me to do something for them. All right, there's no monetary value involved. I do it because I love it. But yeah, communication is key. That keeps me on the straight and narrow. That's the way I deal with it. I'd be interested to see what Rachel's got to say on this.
I'm going to come to George. No, that's really good insight. question we don't ask people that do lots and lots of reviews, etc. You know, do they do it and then maintain that interest? So it's really nice that you've got your control mechanism is communication. That takes the pressure off and keeps everyone happy.
Correct.
I'm going to come to George and Sean Murphy in a minute, but Rachel, okay, I'm going to come to you. You're a business owner. I know you're a keen enthusiast. You know, have things changed for your love of the actual process of detailing, or is it now just a business that pays the bills and you know, you need to put food on the table?
So for me, nothing's changed. I've still got that passion, but I'll just give you some context with that. I only do it part-time. So because I don't do it full-time, I don't get the stresses of a full-time business. Mm-hmm. So I can't like fully relate to Sean and Cher, for example, when they say that, you know, that they're doing that, it's just them, and that's their sole income. I've got another income, so that takes off a lot of the pressures of running a business, and then that lets me do it purely for the enjoyment of it. So my background, I actually work in military aviation. I've been doing that for 14 years, and that in itself comes with its whole host of pressures and stresses and all that sort of stuff. So for me, I just can't wait to get out of that shift and then go clean a car.
Just still there by the sounds of it. The passion is still there.
Yeah, 100%. The passion is still there. That's it. And I can then just go home because I work from a home workshop.
Jealous.
I've got my family right next door to where I work. I can up and, you know, if I'm machine polishing a car into the night, I can go in, have food, spend some time with the family, then go back out to the workshop. So for me, it's striking that balance.
Yeah.
Which if you work in a unit and you're on your own, you don't. So you know you're not going to have that balance. Are you?
Yeah.
You don't.
So I would say that there's benefits of doing it. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting. That's what upsets me when you're saying about being in the unit. It's lovely that you're at home, you can go and see the kids and the missus and everything like that. But when I'm not well, I feel guilty that Sean's down the unit by himself. Now, I know that he's a man and he'll be sat down there with his headphones on, you know, giving it all the big licks whilst he's polishing and stuff. But I can't help but feel guilty because I hate the thought of him sitting down there on his own, because it's not nice being on your own. It doesn't matter what kind of person that you are. You might think you enjoy your own company, but having human, you know, interaction is the best thing in life, you know?
It's one of those things that I think people take for granted, and that we all do it as a hobbyist. We do it for our alone time, our personal time. But when it's a business, it's a very lonely place to be at times. Like with Cher's health problems really kicking in last year, we've got a 1,600 square foot shop that takes enough work for 2 or 3 people. And we had our diary booked solid until December of just gone for 2 people's work. I'm too soft to ring a customer up and go, I'm sorry, I can't get you in. I want to please everybody. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's me I want to please. I'm selfish. Yes, I do it for the money to pay the bills, but I do it to fuel my own endorphins, enjoyment, and my own ego of, look what I've done. Look how good I can make your car.
Yeah. We've all got that. We've all got that. Yeah.
We never argue. The only time we ever argue is by me telling them off for not taking a break. That's it.
Yeah.
The only
You need
thing
to
we ever
listen to
argue
her, Sean.
about
You need to listen to her.
Head office.
It does.
I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to be strong and masterful here. We're going to run this up to 1.5 hours. That's 8 minutes. I'm going to go quickly to Rachel, and then I'll come to Steve. Rachel, what?
I've just got.
Go on, Steve. Sorry. Go on, Steve.
Do you think, and I believe this is true, does every detailer have OCD? I believe they do.
No,
I don't think
you
do.
know.
No.
Absolutely not.
Don't you?
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed by it.
No. Do you mean just when you're detailing, or do you mean in your life in general?
Yeah, because
I think the two go hand in hand.
Confusing, I think maybe genuine
you couldn't
OCD
be further from the truth.
with the common, you've got OCD. Do you see what I mean?
Sorry, Rachel, do you want to say that again?
So I was just going to say, OCD in a lot of people's mind isn't, oh, you've got to have everything clean and tidy. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So that could be you've got to touch a wall 3 times before you leave the house, or that's going to ruin your day.
See, for me though, that is the autism and the ADHD. It's not OCD for me.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So, like OCD, if I'm going to do your car, you can guarantee that every single fibre of your carpet, I will be inspecting with a magnifying glass if that's what you've paid us to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at my house, I'm not going to lie, I've got hoarding tendencies. I'm a hoarder. I collect things. I've got a million pop figures up there. I collect memorabilia. Do you know what I mean? So I'm the complete opposite.
Sean's doing this.
Maybe I should have called it OD.
Right, we've got 5 minutes left. We've got 5 minutes left. I just want to quickly ask Rachel a yes or no answer. Okay, link it into what you were saying. Rachel, if you were full-time detailing, do you honestly think you would still have the same passion for detailing, or would it become a necessity and a chore?
I think it would become a chore, and that's why I like staying part-time and keeping that balance.
Yeah.
Sorry, that wasn't yes or no.
Oh, no. I asked for a closed question and then asked you an open question, so it was my fault. Bad questioning technique. George, Sean. Okay, I know Sean Murphy, George. I know you're not brands, but have you got anything to say on this? Hearing what other people are saying, has there been a point? I mean, for example, Sean Murphy, you're now you've got your own Instagram page where you're doing lots and lots of reviews. Are you maintaining that enjoyment still? Or have things changed, or is this an extension of your enthusiasm that you want to share your work with others?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I love doing it, and I love posting things, and I love people's reactions. Again, I think it's the ego thing. You want people to look at what you've done and agree that you've done a good job. It makes me feel better. But yeah, I've been doing a little bit. I've started a YouTube channel, so I've been doing a bit of content and stuff like that.
Give it a plug.
I don't even know what it's called. Trigger Happy Autos, isn't it?
There we go.
But we've got our own YouTube channels and they've gone dead because we don't have time. We do not have time.
I know. Yeah.
But the last thing I'm going to do is sit and edit a video.
Yeah.
They're nothing special, but I actually have, for me, again, it's just having something to concentrate on and, sit for a few hours in the evening and just pop through and just edit little bits of things up. And I really enjoy it. If nobody watches it, I don't care. I'll watch it. My mum will probably watch it, and that's good enough for me. And George will probably watch it as well.
I do, yeah.
But I really enjoy doing it, and I enjoy trying different things from different brands, speaking to brand owners and, having conversations with them about what they're up to. And I've got, quite friendly with a lot of people. And I think it touches on the community thing, a really nice, healthy community of people out there who are all willing to help each other out. And through it, I've had an offer of using a bay to ceramic my car and things like that, at somebody's unit for free. And I think that says it all, doesn't it? That somebody is willing to give you a weekend in the bay that they pay for to allow you to ceramic coat your car and even offer the help to through the weekend to help you do it, and even offer to put you up for the weekend at their house while you do it. I mean, that is, if that doesn't make you feel good and feel, warm inside about the detailing community as a whole, then I don't know what will, because for me, that will make, a big difference to people's lives when, they meet like-minded people and brands and enthusiasts and anybody who are willing to go out of the way to do things for you.
Sorry,
out of the goodness of the heart. That that's everything, isn't it? And for that,
one of our customers, isn't it? Yeah. We had a customer who drove all the way up from Cornwall to get their car done with their van, their
caddy van.
Little caddy van, isn't it? But he didn't want to just get his caddy van done. He wanted to learn how to do all of it. So he was basically working at our shop for a week and done an intense crash course. And in return, got his van done for free.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I've sent something to you too as well.
that guy must have felt like driving out of there absolutely amazing. He must have thought, do you know what? I'm the next big thing. These
He
guys.
went back down to Cornwall and he's probably given a big lick to his mate. He's in the military. He's in the Navy. And when he comes home or for his leave, he literally comes to our shop. And it's
right. I'm going to be really strict, George.
How did you feel? Sorry, George. I'm going to have to cut you off.
30 seconds. Go on.
How did you feel though doing that guy? You must
it was
have.
The best week that
amazing.
we've had in that shop for a very long time. We enjoyed every second of it. We loved it.
And then when he went, we felt sad.
We literally cried when he left.
It was a quiet shop again. It was back to business as normal.
Horrible. Want him to come back.
Back to normality. Right, George, come on. Let's
Okay, so I'd just like to say, with the detailing, everybody in the group that I've come into contact with are genuinely nice people, and I think that is a massive factor. Detailing aside or detailing included, I could ring Sean and chat to him about, I don't know, Volkswagens or something, and he'd be happy to chat about it. And it's about making friendships and things like that. Even when I have stuff delivered, the parcel delivery guy's like, "Oh, have you got some cleaning stuff?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, what do you use on your car?" And you get like a relationship, if you will, doing it that. And also I think just at the end of the podcast, just to point out, is just to say it is okay not to be okay. And I think that's
and if anybody wants to reach out to any of us, we are more than happy for you to do that.
Likewise, yeah. Oh, Andy Man there.
Yeah. It's got to be done.
No.
Got to be done. Okay,
brilliant. So that's 1.5 hours. I thought we'd be doing. Did I sell this as a 40 minutes to an hour thing? But I think to stop the conversation would be wrong. And I'm just going to do a bit of editing at the start and end, and hopefully people will enjoy it. They can sit back and learn stuff. And I think it's a testament to the sort of wrapping things up, a testament to the industry that we've got such a positive spin on it. There's no need for the negativity. If you look at how many cars there are in the world and how many people are doing detailing, there's not enough to keep us.
There's enough to go around,
and it exactly right. I can really, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, feeling quite humbled that you've all taken the time to share your experiences. Sean and Cher, fantastic. You two, I'll just say, keep looking after each other. And Sean, just keep smiling, It's really, really nice to hear your story. So really interesting. I'm going to have Rachel share back for our females in detailing. I think if Steve's agreement, because it's not just my decision, a good idea for a podcast. Okay, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on as well before we round up to say thank you to each and every one of you for being on here. It's been a great mix. I was worried at the start for having so many people, but again, thank you. And it's been humbling, as Andy said, to have you all on. And I look forward to having you all on again. From the notes I've taken, it's given us loads of content. And I'd like to just drop in for anybody when they listen to this podcast, feel free to drop any of us a message with any questions you might have for future content, please. And that's thanks from me, Andy.
Fantastic. Sean Murph, as always good to chat. Thank you for sharing your stories. And essentially, it was your post that started the concept of this as well. George, you're looking handsome as ever. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Big shout to all those people down in the south. Loving you all. Right,
You've got your laptop.
I'm going to do something non-conventional here. I am the last person. I'm going to offer the floor to someone to say the very last thing. If no one says anything, I'll do a wrap-up statement. But one more person can say something to wrap this up, and then I will be hitting end recording. So who wants to say? I'm putting the pressure on. Sean Murphy is absolutely dying here. Who would like to say the final thing for the podcast? Or are you going to just leave it?
Go on.
3.
I just want everybody to know that mentally, you can be fragile. Outside, you can look amazing. Never be scared to show your true colours. The measure of how strong you are as a person is what you can overcome and how you overcome it. If you're willing to open up and talk about something, you'll get people who'll shut you down and go, you laugh it off, smile, cheer up, you pick yourself up. Ignore them. Use them as fuel. They're the narrow-minded ones. They're the ones who don't believe in mental health issues. Everybody believes in cars having faults, so you can have problems with tyres. They're the feet that you walk on. You see them problems, you acknowledge them. your engine on your car can blow up. That's your heart. Tell somebody an ECU problem on a car. I'm liking it to cars because we all know about them. They'll admit that you can have a problem with the ECU. That's the human brain. As soon as you can tell people that, they'll listen to you. Just be open, be honest. Our phone number, Abstract Detail, pick us up and ring us, message the page. We'll reach out to anybody. We have our shop open on a Thursday night late as a drop-in. If you're in the northeast of England, come see us. Don't be scared to talk. Open up.
Sean, that sums it up. Anyone want to say, I know I said the last, but does Sean, were you just giving a thumbs up, or do you want to say something? 3,
I'll say something. I was just giving a thumbs up because
we're never going to finish this, are we?
what was said, but do you know, at the end of the day, we're all great people on these detailing communities, and my inbox is always open for anybody to message me. I will ring them, I will speak to them, because at the end of the day, talking is for me the most important thing for your mental health. Just talk to people and detail your car, and you'll get through it. You'll get through anything. So
perfect. Love it, Sean. George, you're having one statement because everyone else, we're going around the room now. One super quick final statement.
Think everybody summed it up, and stay on TCB and chat to any of us and all the group members, and I think that wraps it up.
Beautiful. Rachel, pressure's on.
Yeah, I just wish I had more time to really talk and expand on my journey, but there you go. It's it's about people opening up and getting that confidence to do that, and I think you can do it, and just speak to people and go outside of your boundaries, and you'll make yourself a lot healthier mentally, because mental health can be positive, not just negative.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do not worry, Rachel. I want to hear more of your story as well. I generally do. Okay, and we can throw these podcasts together at short notice. We're going to get you and the team back for future podcasts, etc. We're going to get everyone who's partaken in our first podcast together as well. Okay, loads and loads of opportunities. So feed some ideas. I know Sean and Cher have just basically written our program for the next year with all the podcasts I do, and we're going to do them all. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you, and then I'm going to hand it over to Steve McMahon. Okay, for the very final thing, and as soon as he finishes, I'm hitting the end record. So I just like to say thank you to George, Rachel, Sean Murph, Steve McMahon, obviously Sean and Cher, fantastic. Loving the openness, and I hope people just merely listening to this podcast, maybe it'll just resonate. Okay, that and they can empathise with the stories here and come with positive outcomes as well. You two look so cool together.
All the smiles.
Keep smiling. Thank you, everyone. Steve McMahon, last thing from you, and then I'm going to hit end record.
Yeah, just to say a big thank you. Rachel, I'd like to touch on what you just said, and we'd like to follow that up so we can speak about that offline. But it's a thank you for me, and thank you for everybody. George, you've held that plug up so many times tonight. Follow me on Geeky Detail Reviews. Follow The Car Boutique. Follow The Car Boutique on YouTube. Give us all a follow. Share everybody that's on here. Detail Bug, Sean Murph with all their Instagrams or the YouTubes. Sean and Cher down in the bottom. Abstract Detailing. That's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Love you all.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.